She landed in America with only $200 in her pocket, one small suitcase, and a promise she had made to herself: no matter what happened, she would not go back defeated. The airplane doors opened, and a wave of unfamiliar air rushed toward her. It smelled different, cleaner, colder, distant. The airport signs were in English, a language she had studied for years but never truly lived in. Every announcement echoed through the terminal, fast and confident, as if the world here moved at a speed she was not yet prepared for. She held her passport tightly, afraid that if she loosened her grip, even for a second, something would go wrong. Back home, people thought she was brave. Some thought she was foolish. America is not easy, her uncle had warned. Dreams are expensive there. But she had already calculated the cost of staying where she was: limited opportunities, predictable struggles, and the slow suffocation of potential. $200 was not much, but it was enough for a beginning. Her name was Elena. She was 26 years old, a university graduate with a degree that meant very little outside her country. She had worked tirelessly to save money, but unexpected expenses had drained most of her savings before departure. A medical bill for her mother. A last-minute visa fee. A higher-than-expected flight cost. When she finally boarded the plane, $200 was all that remained. Her first night in America was not glamorous. She stayed in a shared apartment in Queens with 3 other women she had never met before. The room she rented was technically a living room separated by a thin curtain. Her bed was a used mattress on the floor. The heating system worked inconsistently, and the refrigerator hummed loudly through the night. But she told herself, this is temporary. This is the price of possibility. The next morning, reality began its negotiation. She quickly discovered that finding a job was not as simple as sending applications. Employers wanted American experience. They wanted perfect English. They wanted confidence that she did not yet possess. She walked into cafes, restaurants, grocery stores, and retail shops, handing out resumes printed at a public library. Most managers smiled politely and said, "We'll call you." Very few did. After 2 weeks, her $200 had shrunk dramatically. Rent consumed most of it. Transportation costs chipped away at what remained. She began calculating everything in painful detail. If she spent $3 on coffee, that was $3 closer to returning home. She stopped buying coffee. She stopped buying anything that was not absolutely essential. Her first job came unexpectedly. A small family-owned diner needed someone to wash dishes during the night shift. The pay was minimum wage. The hours were from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. It was not the career she had imagined when she pictured moving to America, but it was income. She accepted immediately. The work was exhausting. Steam burned her hands. Grease stained her clothes. The noise of clattering plates filled her ears for hours. Some nights she cried quietly while scrubbing pans, wondering if she had misunderstood her own potential. But she showed up every night. On time. Focused. Determined. During the day, she studied English. She listened to podcasts while commuting. She repeated phrases under her breath. She practiced pronunciation by recording herself on her phone. She watched interviews, debates, and news segments, paying attention not just to words, but to tone and rhythm. She refused to let language remain a barrier. Months passed. Slowly, something shifted. Her confidence began to grow. She started volunteering on weekends at a community center that helped immigrants prepare resumes and practice interviews. At first, she was shy. Then she realized something powerful: the struggles she was facing were not unique. Everyone there carried a similar story: fear, hope, sacrifice. One afternoon, while helping another immigrant rewrite a resume, the program coordinator noticed her attention to detail. "You're very good at this," he said. "Have you ever considered working in human resources?" The idea surprised her. Back home, she had studied business administration. She had always been interested in organizational psychology, but she had never pursued it seriously. Here, in a small community center thousands of miles from home, someone saw potential she had nearly forgotten. He offered her a part-time administrative position. The pay was modest, but it was office experience, American experience. She accepted immediately, even though it meant continuing the diner job at night for a while longer. Her schedule became almost unbearable. Work at the diner from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. A short subway ride home. A quick shower. A few hours of sleep. Then the community center from noon to 5 p.m. But she kept reminding herself, this is temporary. Eventually, she left the diner. It was one of the most emotional resignations of her life. The owner shook her hand and said, "You worked harder than anyone here. Don't forget that." She never did. At the community center, she flourished. She improved processes, organized workshops, and helped dozens of immigrants refine their interview skills. She understood their fear because she had lived it. She spoke not just from theory, but from experience. 1 year after arriving in America with only $200, Elena applied for a junior human resources position at a mid-sized company. The interview was intimidating. 3 managers sat across from her. They asked about conflict resolution, recruitment strategies, workplace culture. She answered carefully, honestly, drawing from both her education and her real-life journey. When they asked why she had moved to America, she paused. "Because I wanted to grow," she said. "Not just professionally. Personally. I wanted to test what I was capable of." 2 weeks later, she received the offer. Her salary was not extraordinary, but to her, it represented something much larger than money. It represented validation. It represented progress. It represented proof that $200 had been enough. Over the next few years, she continued advancing. She earned certifications. She improved her communication skills. She mentored other newcomers. She saved money, not out of fear this time, but out of strategy. She moved into her own apartment. She bought her first car. She sent money home to support her family. But perhaps her greatest transformation was internal. When she first arrived, she measured every dollar with anxiety. Now, she measured her life by growth. She had learned that courage is not loud. It does not always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like washing dishes at midnight while practicing English vocabulary in your head. Sometimes it looks like showing up to interviews even after multiple rejections. Sometimes it looks like staying when leaving would be easier. 5 years after landing with $200, Elena stood in a conference room giving a presentation to new employees. Her English was clear, confident, articulate. She spoke about resilience, adaptability, and the importance of embracing discomfort. As she looked around the room, she saw a young woman in the back listening carefully, nervously adjusting her resume folder. Elena recognized that look immediately. After the presentation, the young woman approached her and said, "I just moved here 3 months ago. I only had $300. I'm scared, but I don't want to give up." Elena smiled gently. "Good," she said. "Fear means you're growing." She often reflected on that first night in Queens, the thin curtain, the mattress on the floor, the uncertainty. She realized something profound: success is rarely about the amount of money you start with. It is about the decision you make when that money runs out. $200 was never the real resource. Her discipline was. Her persistence was. Her willingness to endure temporary discomfort was. America did not hand her opportunity. It tested her for it. And she passed, not because she was extraordinary, but because she refused to quit when things were ordinary, difficult, and exhausting. If you ever feel unprepared, underfunded, or underestimated, remember this: beginnings are not supposed to look impressive. They are supposed to look uncertain. She moved to America with only $200. But what she truly carried with her was far more valuable: belief. And sometimes, belief is the only currency you need to begin.